Picture this. You see a beautiful image and get the urge to draw it. So you bring out your pen and paper and start scribbling away. After a few hours, you get an ogre. What went wrong? Hey lovable scamps! Welcome back. In this video, we will be tackling how to draw faces, specifically men's faces, in the front-facing angle. There are a few reasons I put in these limitations, which you'll find out as we go along with the video. Well, as far as it goes for drawing faces, there are a multitude of methods in the art world. Some are artists' intuitive methods that they've made, created, or picked up as they've gained experience while drawing and painting. Other methods are more systematic or structured. For example, the Loomis method, maybe you've heard of that. I mean, not a baby, you've definitely heard of that because I think it's definitely the most popular method on the internet for face drawing, which I don't understand because it's quite complicated, but another discussion. And then there's grid method. But in my opinion, most of these methods tend to overcomplicate face drawing. It shouldn't really be this difficult, especially for beginners. So I want this video to be the all-in-one sort of, or the one and only video you'll ever need as a beginner to start face drawing. Emphasis on the as a beginner. Yeah, let's get started.
For the sake of simplicity and so most people can easily follow along, I will be using a pencil and paper. We will also not be shading the face in this class. I've seen a lot of those videos where people are constantly talking about angles and size and proportions, that the head should be this bigger and the eyes should come at this angle and the nose should be 1.365 times the difference of the length of the angular. No. In all honesty, I think these are mostly not necessary. When drawing faces, the most important skill is observation. What I mean by that is, first and foremost, get your reference. And no, don't try to draw something from your head. Look at it. Look at where you can place the circle for the head, where the hairline is, the forehead, the eyebrows, the end of the nose, the lips, the chin. What shape and how big the eyes are, how wide the nose and lips are, how do they compare to each other, where does the jaw start, is the face oval, circular, square. Now I know that was a lot, but you don't need to remember all this just yet. For now, let's just start. You've probably seen this 100 times, no, 1,000 times in videos. Draw a circle and put a line in the middle. Now it's important that the circle is a circle and your line is centered, since this is front facing. In the beginning you might not get a good circle, but as you keep trying you will improve. It's like how you learn to write as a kid. The writing is hard to do in the beginning, it's not as clean and legible, but now hopefully it's good and easy. Or maybe it still isn't. I've seen a lot of people with bad handwriting. But that's because they don't try to improve it. You're trying, I think. Well, you're watching this video. That's something. Once we have the circle and the line, we will put in the chin. I like to do this first because it allows me to center it nicely. Then come the jaw, the lines for the jaw. It's important you look at the reference and check what the shape of the line is, where it curves, how long, sharp, or wide it is. Once you have this, we will be able to put in reference lines. There are a lot of reference lines one could put in, but I find you usually need 3. One for the eyebrows, one for the nose, one for the lips. Now that we have these lines, let's take this step by step. I always like to start with the nose. It's kind of a habit I have picked up. It gives me a nice understanding of the face, how all the features come into play, since the nose is at the center of the face. To draw a good nose, you need to look for 3 main shapes in the nose. The shape of the tip, the shape of the bridge, and the nostrils. Even noses come in all shapes and sizes, so it's really important to find the shape in your reference. Next come the lips. When drawing lips, I like to first gently erase the reference line I drew before, and then put in 2 dots. These will tell me how wide the lips need to be. Then I will put in a line which will be according to the shape I see on the lips. Once this line is good, I will draw in the upper and lower lip. Remember to look carefully whether they are equally big or small, or if one of them is bigger or smaller than the other. Once these 2 are done, I will bring the bridge of the nose up, and this will act as the forehead, where I will place the eyebrows. But before I do that, I want to put in 2 more reference lines that will tell me where the eyebrows should end or how long they should be. I can infer this from where the cheeks are and where the eyebrows are compared to the cheeks. I know it might seem tempting to just put the eyebrows to the corners of the face, but it's important to remember our faces are not flat, 2-dimensional shapes. We are 3-dimensional, so we tend to see a part of the face or a part of the side of the face in a front-facing photo. Once those lines are in, draw the eyebrows. Draw them according to the shape you see in the reference. Is it straight, curved, straight, and then a cut? Look closely. Once the eyebrows are in place, it's time to do the eyes. For the eyes, I like to use the same method I use for the lips. I place 4 dots. One for the start of the first eye, one the end of the first eye, one for the start of the second eye, and one for the end of the second eye. This lets me know the gap in between and how long the 2 eyes will be, and also whether the 2 eyes will be the same size. I know a lot of people say you should draw the pupil first, but in my experience, drawing the eyelids first is much more easier. So I draw the upper or lower eyelids. It doesn't really matter which one you want to start with on both sides, but it is important that you draw both sides first so you know that they are the same shape. And then you can do whichever eyelid is left. Once both eyelids are done, you can put in the pupils and make sure the position of the pupils matches your reference. If it doesn't, or if they aren't properly done, your drawing could look like, I don't know what the word is, derpy, I think, because I remember there was a character in My Little Pony with cross eyes called Derpy because of her eyes, but I might be wrong. I hope that's not an offensive term. I think it isn't because it was My Little Pony. I'm sidetracking here. Okay, so now we have our main components done, so the hard part is over. Now, I know this looks weird, but trust me, this will all come together once we put in the hair. For the hair, the biggest mistake people make is thinking of it as individual strands. However, it isn't. It's a collective shape. Look for the shape you see in the reference and try to draw that shape into your drawing. Use your pencil strokes to mark the top and bottom of the hair and draw in the lines to make it look good. You can go as detailed or as minimal as you'd like. If you'd like a tutorial on hair, I can make one on that too. Now that we have this, we can put in our final touches, which will be the color in the eyes, eyebrows, and eyelashes. Once those are done, this will pull our drawing together, and voila. The shading would make this look much better, but that would be a lengthy tutorial in itself. So I didn't put it here because I wanted us to focus on just the simple anatomy and how you can easily level up your face drawing by just knowing these basic terms.
This was meant to be a very beginner-friendly tutorial. That's why I did not want to overburden you all with the details of shading or trying to get different expressions right. I really wanted this to be a clean and easy to follow tutorial that you could implement on any reference that you might like. So you can build those skills up of getting the features like the eyes, nose, lips, the overall facial image correctly. And once you get those things right, you can move on to tougher things like trying to draw a face that has smile lines, or for example, ethnic noses, or, like different expressions or different angles. You can also make a video on that if you like. Overall, the one thing you really need to know is that practice is the most important. You can know the theory of something, but to be able to implement it requires a lot of practice. For example, you might think you know how to do a handstand, but if you try, do you really think you could get it on the first try? No. You need to practice, build up your skills, build up your muscles, build up your strength. It's the same for drawing. You need to build those skills up, and that requires practice. So I would really recommend that you find some references of your own online, search face, men, front angle, or headshot. And you'll find a lot of references that you could work with, and just practice, practice, practice. And as time goes by, you can increase the level that you'd like to do, like maybe up the difficulty. And I'm sure as you go along, you will improve and you will figure these things out on your own. Although, if you want me to make a video about a certain something, I would be happy to, of course. In the end, I think it's all about how much time you're willing to put in here. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please like and subscribe and comment down what you thought was interesting. Love you all.